Welcome to our podcast, It's About Payroll. We're your hosts, Brian Escobar and Walter William Duncan III. Whether you're new to the payroll game or a seasoned veteran, we have something for you. Good morning, folks. We have a great show for you today. We have another special guest. We have Melisa, and can you pronounce your last name for us?
Vicioso.
Vicioso. All
Yeah.
right, and we're going to talk global payroll. And Melisa, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into payroll? How'd you get to the global part? Give us a rundown.
Sure. Well, first, I want to thank you guys for having me on.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
listen to you guys regularly,
Oh,
and
thank you.
Thank
definitely
you.
great
Yeah.
conversations.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to us.
For sure, I'm sure it's going to grow and continue on to be the future of payroll podcasts.
Oh, that.
Thank you so much for that.
Dang.
Speak it into existence, right?
Yes.
That's what
Yes,
it's all
Please.
about.
please.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But a little bit about me. So I started in payroll about 12 years ago. It's always the same story with payroll, right? It's always by accident.
Yes.
So yeah, same case with me. I guess I kind of fell into it, and I'm here, and I love every second of it. So I think when I started out, I actually got my master's in human resources training and development,
Nice.
and it was very hard to get into HR without
Yes,
some
it
sort of
is.
internship or some sort of entry level job. And at the moment, I was working full time for the NYPD
Oh, wow.
and going to school, obviously full time. So when I finished that, I needed to find something comparable, and an entry level job wasn't going to cut it.
Mm.
So I started just applying anywhere that was employee related, and landed with United Airlines, and it was time and attendance. It was payroll. It was reporting into finance. And I said, you know what, this is still a great segue or foot in the door to something related to payroll or related to HR.
Absolutely.
And here I am. 12
Wow.
years later,
Wow.
still in payroll. So yeah, it was very interesting. United Airlines actually, they process, I'm sure they still do process their payroll in-house. It was a field rep position, so I was the only person in the office based out of JFK.
Oh,
First time
goodness.
with any sort of like employee interaction.
Oh,
It
wow.
was a
Wow.
union payroll done
Oof.
weekly, every
Oof.
Monday.
Yep. I
So
remember those. Yep.
it was interesting. It was very, I mean, I think for me at least, I always speak about it in every interview or any person that I speak to regarding payroll, just how I got my start, because I think it truly built my foundation with
Of
that, just
course.
the discipline, the time
Yep.
management
Yep.
that never went away.
How many
So
employees did you manage?
it wasn't a lot of employees, but it was again the first time that I was dealing with payroll, but it was also multi-state. So I was handling the Northeast region
Oh,
of
wow. So
tech, all the tech ops. Yep,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
just
just one
JFK.
station. Nope, it was JFK, Newark,
Oh, wow.
LaGuardia, Boston, Philly,
Oh,
DCA. So it was that whole cloud of groups, and I would actually go to each airport too because always wanted FaceTime. So,
oh,
and my
wow.
supervisors were actually based out in San Francisco. So
Wow.
even with when I needed an answer or when I needed help, it was still a 3 hour wait, right?
Wow.
So, and again, it's not how it used to be. I mean, 12 years ago,
It
it's
was very
been leaps
different.
and bounds. Yeah, with even
Yes.
communication.
Technology. Yeah,
Yeah, with
absolutely.
Slack, with Fuse and
Yep.
Teams and all of that. We didn't even have an internal messaging system. It was literally the phone and texting.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. And fax machines, right?
yeah, they probably still use fax machines. The airline industry needs improvement.
A lot
So,
of companies, believe it or not, are still going through manual changeovers and things like that. So it's just more companies than not, believe it. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
for
Mm.
That's
sure, for
wow.
sure.
So how'd you make the transition from time and attendance at United to now you're a global payroll manager, right?
Yeah, I think, you know what it is? I think it's all about just what your scope is, right? So I think it's not necessarily, especially in payroll, it's hard to hear sometimes, but everything can't be perfect,
That's,
right?
that's right.
You
Yes.
can't have the
Very true.
perfect system, you can't have the perfect team, you can't and that can't be your goal, right?
Yep.
You'll be stagnant in that silo of US payroll or whatever your expertise is. So I think for me, the best way for me to learn, I'm a big supporter of just continuing education, was global payroll.
Wow.
I think it went from a state payroll to multi-state to pretty much the whole United States. And then it slowly bled into, you know what, let's check Puerto Rico out. Let's check
Mm-hmm.
Canada out. And then it
Mm-hmm.
slowly grew. I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to be a part of a startup prior to the pandemic that had plans on growing exponentially in APAC in Europe, and actually was part of opening their Shanghai branch and their Hong Kong branch.
Oh, wow.
And then the pandemic hit. So in startups, the grittiness of startups is you are kind of a one person team. You're very
Yep.
lean,
Yep.
but you get that exposure. And that's what I was
Mhm.
looking for, right? I was hungry for that exposure, that challenge. And the SVP that I reported into, she was all for it. She was like, listen, Melissa, if you're up to it, sit in on our meetings, sit in our meetings with the chief legal officer, with our
Nice.
controller. If you want to understand how business nexuses get created in Hong Kong, sit in with us. And I would just be a fly on the wall. And I think that's definitely where I kind of got the notion to say, you know what, there's so much more outside of
Yes.
North America payroll, right? Like,
Yes.
let's see how it pairs up with the rest of the world. So that was not even that long ago. That was 2019, the
Oh,
beginning
wow.
of 2019. Yep. With that position, I think we were in 5 countries. And now in my current role, we're in about 31 countries. So definitely a huge change.
So what's the biggest difference between domestic payroll versus global payroll?
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Indeed FutureWorks. Ryan and I attended the conference last year, and we created a limited series for Indeed where we talked to their customers. Great stories around TA and how they use Indeed to the max. So check it out. It's just Indeed FutureWorks 2024. You could search for it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks.
You know what it is? I think when people look at it, or when I first looked at it, I'm like, you know what? The US, every single state, everyone has different regulations, overtime, whatever, you name it, there's something different in each state for the most part.
Yep.
The difference is it's still governed federally, right? So
Yes.
for states that income tax, right? The 13 states that don't have income tax, or states that kind of follow the W-4 and don't have their own state income tax form. There's still some nuances where you can get that guidance. But for global payroll, you're literally dealing per country. And then you're dealing on a local level per province.
Within that wow.
Right? Or per region, right? So my company right now, our global headquarters is in Switzerland, and it's a border town to Italy. So even that nuance in just those 2 countries, there's so many differences. And it's really getting that expertise, or even getting that information online. You would think nowadays, right, everything's online, right? You can reference things.
Yep.
Nope, it's very, very specific. And then you layer on top of that language. So even as difficult as getting some document translated, you would be surprised what words translate and don't mean the same thing in payroll. So
Absolutely.
I think the combination of those two, right, not having a reference, whether it's a government reference or some kind of clear documentation for each country that you're processing payroll in, and language, those 2 things are, I think, really create the most complexity.
Wow. So that segues right into the next question. It was, what are the challenges that you face with global payroll? So that's language. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And then on top of that, it's compliance, right? As it relates to that, there's so many different nuances, right? 13th and 14th month salaries, you get pension, you have holiday allowances that you're paid out on a monthly basis.
Did you say 13th or 14th month salaries?
Yep.
What's that?
So I'm actually from the Philippines. My parents are from the Philippines. And in the Philippines, what they did is they wanted to create more of a convenience, I want to say, for employees. And during Christmas time it's a big season, obviously, for a lot of many cultures, and wanted kind of a double paycheck, right, during the Christmas time. So instead of dividing your annual salary by 12, right, because it's many countries it's monthly payroll, you're dividing it by 13. So you're getting your 12th and 13th payroll in December.
Oh,
gotcha.
So imagine that. No, hearing that for the first time.
Yes.
And it's many countries that kind of follow suit. And
really?
then to further that, it's 13 and 14. In some countries, it's even 13 and a half. So it's very, very particular. And it's different reasoning. So like in Greece, it's Christmas, it's Easter. And that's strange, right? It's not really a common thing, especially in payroll. It's not even recognized really federally in the US for it to be a bank holiday or anything. But yeah, so it's very, very Spain. It's many countries that actually have that 13th and even 14th month salary.
So now and it's funny because I was just, have you seen that book out there by Anita Latink, How
I
to
saw it
Select Your
on
Next Pair?
LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got it. And I haven't read it cover to cover yet, but I flipped through it when these topics come up. Sure enough, she has a multi-country chapter and she
Hmm.
breaks it down. It's gonna be very similar like any payroll, right? You're gonna have an in-house, outsourced, or a hybrid type of
Yeah.
solution. What what's how do you solve it for it? How do you guys solve for it? Is it for that
There's
31 country differences?
there's a different layer to that, right? So very similar to the US, and I'll just try to relate it a lot back to the US because you guys are the experts in that too, is when you create a new nexus in each state, it's very similar to creating presence in a new country. So it's not as easy as getting an outsourced vendor. It's getting an EOR, right? It's getting an employer of record to act as your legal entity in that country if you don't have a presence there, right?
Hmm.
Especially in the pandemic where you just hired one remote employee in South
Yeah.
Korea,
Oh my God.
right?
Yep.
You're
Hmm.
not going to open a business, right? So
Right.
you have to then, before even getting to that point where you want to hire that person, you have to understand, right? What are the regulations there? Do we have to pay out of a local bank account? So it's not only finding the outsourced vendor, it's finding if you have to do an EOR model, if you can do just a managed service and open a payroll registration. So it's much more thought into just hiring that one person.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yep.
And we're a cybersecurity IoT company. So it is very particular with the type of engineers or security advisors we're hiring. So when they find that person, we need to hire them. We'll go through
Wow.
whatever hoops we have to, and that becomes very difficult. I'm sure you can imagine, right? With
Hmm.
in
Yep.
again in some countries like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you need a local bank account. You cannot pay an employee
From a
through
foreign bank account.
form for a bank account. It will appear as a wire payment, which can sometimes constitute as fraud.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Wow.
it's more than just picking a vendor. So that's actually, I listed that as one of my challenges. It's finding a vendor that can provide that kind of compliance and that level of expertise even prior to hiring an employee.
Wow. So you have a list. I'm sorry. Did we cover all your challenges?
Oh, the only other thing that I had is reporting, right? So
Mm.
Mm.
with that, even in the US, when I worked with my that first startup, we had three different payroll systems and we were only in 7 countries. Now in 31 countries, I'm dealing with 7 different
Wow.
vendors. I'm sorry, we just added a
Wow.
new one. So it's having that kind of streamlined reporting that you could
Mm.
that you would think top level, right? Leadership, they're saying, hey, Melissa, just, you know what,
Uh-uh.
run a report on the commission that was paid year to date. And in my head, I'm like,
Uh-uh.
oh my God,
I
seven
can't.
times
Yeah.
31
So take a.
times 12. Like it's
Yeah.
Wow.
insane. And they need that for the board deck. That's on Thursday morning
Yep.
at 8 a.m., right?
Yep.
And I'm a one person payroll and benefits team.
Oh
So
wow.
it is very interesting to that kind of challenge.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. Holy cow. So perfect segue. What would
Hmm.
you like to see improved in global payroll management in the future?
On a technical aspect, I think it's having compliance, having global experts. It's that kind of system integration with whatever HRIS you're using. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
key. And that's actually making a lot of progress, to be honest. There are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like webhooks, custom webhooks that vendors are creating, open API connections that
Yep.
will hopefully one day be mastered. And that can be the solve, right, for
Yes.
that integration piece. On the technical side of things is an advanced tech state, a mobile app, right? I
Mobile
think
solutions. Yeah.
that would be great. In the US, it's a lot more common than it is globally just because they have so many different data protection policies. I think a peer-to-peer information sharing would be great. I think that it's hard talking about payroll, but I'm
Yeah.
part of GPA, and GPA, what I do appreciate, and it's sometimes a hit or miss, they actually have a WhatsApp group as part of their membership.
Nice.
And it's about 350 to 400 members, I believe, the last time I looked.
Oh
And
wow.
sometimes, you know what, I just shoot a question out there, a
Yes. Yeah.
random question, and
Yeah.
sometimes I get lucky and
Yep.
somebody messages me privately or even openly, right? And you learn. It's very similar to APA, right? Where they have that email, that daily
The
email.
listserv, yeah.
Yep, I love that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes I even save questions and just
Mm-hmm.
have a running list of questions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. We have some things that we wanted to cover too.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
For businesses, because this season we're rounding out this season, which is for business owners, right? You're a business owner, much like the company you got involved with, which is really lean, like you said, and you were able to learn all these things. Now, what is the business owner that you work with? How do they make this decision? What do they think about? Oh my gosh, they're going global, right? And please correct us if we're wrong. If we're missing anything, let us know. But some of the things that a business owner would need to consider: compliance with local laws and regulations, like you mentioned, right? Huge challenge.
For sure.
The tax requirements, including the withholding, kind of one and the same. Cultural difference and language barriers, like you said. Great list, Walter. Thank you so much. Clear communication channels and processes, reporting. Yep, you said it. This hit it. Reliable payroll system and can handle multi-current. Ooh, that's interesting. So let's talk about that for a second. So you don't have one system. You use different systems to handle the currencies and the different areas you're in, right? You said 7 vendors to manage 31 countries.
Yep. It's a big deal, especially when we have a lot of trust accounts as well through our payroll vendors. That's the actual solution, to be honest, without having to open a bank account of our own.
Wow.
On the finance side, you can imagine filing every single
Forget
month,
about it.
right?
Yeah.
Not only are you reconciling our 4 main or 5 main bank accounts, now you have 7, 8 trust accounts that you also have to reconcile.
Wow.
So it's definitely not even on the payroll person. It's definitely a combined or collaborative effort of HR as well as finance.
Wow. That's crazy.
And then you're dealing with exchange rates too, right?
Oof.
So it's a whole lot that you're dealing with, especially if you're processing payroll on the 15th for a 30th pay date. I'm sure you guys know how much the exchange rate can change in those 15, 16 days. So
oh gosh, yes.
Even explaining that.
Sounds like fun.
Goodness gracious. And then again, segue, same thing, understanding local markets, the compensation practices, social security and benefit requirements, and what that looks like in other countries. Because when I was in New York, I worked at School of Visual Arts, and they have professors all over the world.
Wow.
So I had my exposure to global payroll there, and setting up the same thing, setting up different solutions in every country. And I remember Italy had its own little deal, and you got to like register and this and that.
Okay.
And it kind of all boiling back to these local nuances, of cost and potential risk associated with global payroll. Well, look, if you have to do it, you got to do it right. So, yes, and analyze the cost and risk, but you got to do it if you're going to be a global player.
Yep. And that's something that a lot of, unfortunately, some companies don't look at, right? They always look at payroll as a support department, right? You're not creating revenue, right? And I think I've always went into every single position that I held into the role of how ROI is really considered into payroll, right?
Yes.
It's the utilization of the system. It has a lot to deal with just the attrition rate, right? How are you retaining talent? Are you ensuring that there's transparency in their payroll? Are they fully understanding their full total reward scheme of things? So I think that definitely plays a huge part. I think payroll's role in that is, I don't know, if not the majority of it's definitely all of it.
Me and Walter have been saying in the show, where one, payroll's underserved, right?
For sure.
You've heard it. And but the tides are shifting, right? It's becoming more of we're getting our place at the table now. we are a part of the conversation. Leaders are recognizing the massive expense of that, because usually it's like 45 to 50% of your gross revenue is paid to payroll. That's your labor cost. And that's a huge line. So folks like us are finally getting to be part of the conversation, because it's not just transactional. There can be strategies applied to help you save some money, and like you said, leverage your ROI on your payroll department. So we're getting there. And join us, Melissa, too, because I don't know if you've seen Christina Hagney out there. She's been a guest on the show a few times. She has her own, we are going to collectively push the movement of payroll becoming an industry, an independent industry unto itself. Like, meaning when we go and fill out these documents and people ask us what we do and what industry we're in, we want to be able to say our occupation is payroll and our industry is payroll.
Yep, it's not finance. It's not human resources.
Thank you. It's right. And no disrespect to those departments. They are partners, they are customers. That it's marriages and other sides of the same coins. Like, they are very much our partners, but we are independent of them.
Of course.
It's like trying to find our identity, right, as we grow up. Like, payroll is still in this child stage where we're really trying to break off from the parents and become our own thing, and rightfully so. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. So now tell us, Melissa, this is for payroll people. What are you telling? Let's do two-part. What are you telling the owner that has to go global right now? What's your advice to them? And then the second part, what's your advice to a new global payroll manager?
Sure. So I think on the owner side, I think what's key, right? And it's key in anything, but more so in global payroll, is really doing the research, right? It's really sitting down with your recruitment team and putting a process together on when you can hire someone in a different country, a new country, right? I think that ultimately will solidify where you land in the success of global payroll, right? The minute that you have at least the majority of your ducks in a row and you have everybody on the same page, it's tying back to what you're saying. It's having payroll at the table, right? It's having a seat at the table. It's, again, you aren't a lawyer. We're not lawyers. We're not, again, HR professionals in that sense, but we definitely have a say, and we are a huge part of even retaining that hire. If they're not paid properly, if they have questions on their pay slips, if we're not withholding or can explain deductions on a pay slip, that will ultimately lead them to leave, right? Absolutely. So it's being part of that full cycle of an employee hire. I think that, in my mind, is key, right? It's really listening to your payroll person or your payroll team.
Yep. Walt, what's that statistic you have about the errors and the employees leaving?
Oh, basically it said after there's an error with their first paycheck, that like 50% of them start looking for another job if there's an error.
I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people that are hopeful about the world of work. And I'd like to change that. My name's Marcus Mossberger, and I started the Hope at Work podcast, where you'll find two things. Number one, really interesting guests. And number two, innovative ideas about the future of work. Check it out.
In their first paycheck. That's crazy. In their first paycheck.
Because you have to think about it. Global payroll, you're paid monthly, right? So if you don't have that flexibility, I'm the majority. You don't have that flexibility. Well, it's the large majority. You're paid monthly. So if that monthly, if that 30th paycheck or 31st paycheck is incorrect, and you have to pay your bill, you have to pay your mortgage, you have to pay your kids' tuition, or whatever the case may be, what are you doing in that 1 week, that first week, or maybe that first 2 weeks of the payroll person or payroll vendor figuring out what went wrong? Right? Wow. So I could understand why people would want to leave. Wow. So, which is why, again, payroll definitely deserves a seat at the table. Yep. I mean, it's not even to reiterate, and it has nothing to do with having a large payroll team. It's just having payroll, whether it's the head of payroll, whether it's a partner, whether you're getting a consultation because you don't have an in-house payroll team. It's just knowing that definitely plays a part. Wow. And the importance of payroll, for sure.
So for the owner, it's preparation. We got it. Do your research, get it together, really prepare for that hire globally. Now for the new global payroll manager, what words of advice?
I think, to be honest, depending on how many countries you're in, it's all about time management. It's all about understanding, again, your payroll deadlines. It's communicating to all your business partners when you need data. right, what the cutoff is, and as well as your clients, right, as well as your employees, when you can expect your paycheck. It's having that kind of clear transparency from the beginning. No one is going to know a new country's payroll the minute you enter that country. So it's, at least if you have that clear line of communication, it creates, again, it isn't we're making an error on purpose or we're not doing our job properly. It's we're all kind of working through it, right? We're doing the best that we can with the data that we have or the time that we have. So I think it's just really creating a good relationship with your business partners from the beginning.
Awesome.
That's great. Walt, do you have have you had global payroll in your?
Not yet.
Not yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I had the small stint in SES VA, and it was fun. It was cool. I could definitely see the challenge in it, and I remember China was a big challenge, like setting up Nexus and all that stuff, and that was very right. Yeah,
it's provincial, so it's provincial,
Yes.
and then in each province, it's a progressive tax rate. So it's just having, I don't know, multiple like U.S. countries like within one big country. So
It's another United States type deal, times however many you're in. Yeah,
exactly, for sure. Again, I try to relate it to a lot of multi-state, but it does have its special nuances.
I would imagine. Yeah, and like you said, I think you nailed it. Time management at the end of the day.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough, Melissa, for joining us. It's awesome to have you, and we'd
Happy
love
to
to
be
have
here.
you back again one day. You were worried about the recording, and you sound like an expert.
No, you know, one topic that I think you guys brought up, I don't remember the episode, was sports. So I had a little stint at the Brooklyn Nets for a little bit, and it was my first kind of sports payroll position. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. So maybe we could save that for another episode.
Yes,
That'd be
we
great.
absolutely can. Yeah, and thanks, folks, for coming out. We'll definitely have Melissa back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be dope. So, all right, cool. Thank you so much.
Guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of our podcast. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you. And we hope that the information that we'll share with you will impact you as a payroll professional. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.